Spaceship has landed. True logic. Okay, word. Today, I want to talk about something that's been, like, irking me for the longest. And that's Thanos, bro. Thanos has been fucking... Okay, this whole, like, Infinity War, like, solution that Thanos came up with was fucking ridiculous. And, like, it disappoints me that more people aren't talking about how ridiculous Thanos' like, whole approach was to begin with. Okay, what do I mean exactly? Like, dude has all of the power of the entire universe in his hand inside the Infinity Gauntlet, right? He has time, space, reality, all that shit, right? Yet, his only solution that he can come up with to the universe's issues is to erase half of the universe's population. Like, okay, firstly, it's not as if he, like, prevented women from being able to give birth, right? So it's like, even if you cut the population in half, people can still reproduce, right? So eventually the population will just double back to what it was before, if not even explode further, right? So it's like, it's a temporary solution, a super temporary solution, which, like, obviously a being that controls all of time and space can come up with a solution more long-term than that, right? And hell, okay, and if his problem is, like, the number of people, if that's, like, his issue, which I still don't necessarily sure I quite get what this nigga's issue is to begin with, right? Like, Thanos is just a angry man, you know? I mean, but, like, okay, you've wiped out half the universe's population, as opposed to, like, your ability and power to just create another universe, you know what I mean? Like, you have all of space and time continuum in your hands. Why can't you just make another universe and then put those half of those people in there? You know what I mean? Like, wiping out half of them just seemed, like, super ineffective. Also, like, you know, he seems to have this fundamental, like, misunderstanding that I completely disagree with. The idea that, like, all people are equal in a certain type of way that they're, like, not. You know what I mean? Like, one... Like, if you're allowing just the natural flow of things to occur, then Thanos is automatically, like, breaking the natural order of things to begin with, right? So, that's his whole idea of, like, you know, he wants to restore natural order to the universe and things like that. That's fundamentally a flawed logic, right? Because, again, if you're just allowing the natural flow of things in the universe, well, the natural flow and order of the universe wouldn't have, like, fundamentally entailed that Thanos, like, would gain the Infinity Gauntlet. Arguably so, but that's another question of determinism, right? That's only if you believe in determinism, which I definitely don't, right? I don't think it was inevitable that Thanos would get the Infinity Gauntlet, insofar as I don't think that at the universe's inception it was going to necessarily be that Thanos would have to get the Infinity Gauntlet, right? Like, he could, and he also has personal autonomy and free will, and if he wanted, he could have chose otherwise, as we've seen several times in the movie where he chose to do certain things, like, you know? But, again, my critical point is, like, if he's about maintaining natural order of the universe, he's really trying to just subject the universe to his will, right? The natural order of the universe is chaotic and free, you know what I mean? The chaos is the natural order of the universe. It's not, you know, order and consistency. Entropy is more common in the universe than anything else, you know what I mean? So if Thanos is like, he wants to continue with the natural flow of order, well, that's, again, fundamentally against the universe itself, because the universe is not ordered in that type of way, right? Chaos is a fundamental aspect of the physical existence of this being in this universe, right? So it's like, you know, and again, he killed half the population, presuming that, like, you know, everyone is the same type of person, everyone contributes the same degree of quality and substance to the universe, to being, to their own worlds, their own planets, whatever that be, right? And that's totally not true either. It's like, for example, that part in the first Infinity War, when it's on Gamora's planet, and they split the people in half, and then he wipes out half the population on that side, right? For all, like, he knew, or anyone else knows, like, the Einstein of that planet could have been on that half of the people that he killed, you know what I mean? And then, like, the dumbass people could have been on, like, the other half of the people that he chose to keep alive, right? And then you have to think about then what's going to happen in that society after Thanos leaves, right? Okay, now there's half of you left, right? But the half that is left are incapable of producing the same type of substantive outcomes that the other half did when they were there. You know what I mean? So it's like, ultimately, it further can hurt and cripple that society by him doing that in that type of method, right? By just randomly picking any half and then just wiping them out, right? There should definitely, if he's going to even do that to begin with, there should be a much more, like, critical way of doing that and going about it, right? Because like I said, I don't think, you know, people would deny the fact that Einstein and people like him and Kanye West and people like that are not, like, average people. You know, you're wiping out the great gifted individuals with the average individuals as well, which is, again, ultimately hurting that population. But from his perspective, that's not really necessarily what he was trying to do, right? Like, there's so many, like, critical, philosophical, and logical inconsistencies in this entire approach to me. Like, I just don't understand, like, why, if all the things in the entire, like, you know, he could even literally, if he wanted to, stop all of time and then take that space to just think of other ideas, you know? But instead, he just seems so fundamentally bent on this whole, like, let's just wipe out half the population idea, which is, I mean, it seems to be like he literally went with whatever first idea it was that came to his mind and was like, and I don't know why that was the idea, you know? It's just ineffective. But also, if you control time, space, reality, and things like that, why not just create more resources for people to use, or more planets to exist, or, like, you know, or as I said, just a whole entire other universe which you're capable of. It seems to me like the idea of, like, wiping out, or though that also poses another interesting philosophical question: is there another universe per se? That's also a critical question of what exactly does the word universe mean. Are we talking lowercase u, capital U, you know what I mean? It's like sort of like the difference in philosophy between, like, the type A and type B, like, qualities, and that whole, like, question of physicalism and dualism debate and so forth, right? You know, this brings up a lot of interesting debates, you know, but that's another question about the physicalism and dualism of the whole situation, right? If Thanos has the power of soul, time, space, and reality, and everything like that, does that de facto make him God, having that ability? Well, arguably, well, yes, obviously he's not the original creator, but for all intents and purposes, he controls space, time, reality, soul, all of that. He's essentially God, right? So, and you're telling me you have essentially the power of God, or at least from the Christian Abrahamic viewpoint, and the only thing you can think of is, let's just wipe out half the population. Man, that's a terrible idea. It's terrible. And he could have thought of something else. Like, it wasn't the most effective approach. And whoever wrote that in the script, whoever came up with the idea, was reaching, you know. But then again, if it's very clear the Avengers movies are not really about the script, right, or the substance and sense of the scripts, it's just really about packing in big action scenes and shit like that to entertain people. I get that. But still, they could have done better there and come up with a much better idea than that, you know? Let me know what you think in the comments. Spaceship blasting off.